Hey Taylor,
How you doing?
doing good. How are you?
I'm great.
Wonderful, wonderful, Taylor. So how's the day so far?
Pretty chill. I kind of slept in for a little while. I was up too late working, and then I woke up and started working again. So,
Fantastic, fantastic. So Taylor, Onward Strikes Colossus to be out on February 24th. So would you like to tell me a bit about the songwriting and production behind this new upcoming album?
yeah. So we wrote this song. This album was primarily written during the pandemic. Either people were working or not during that time. We really hunkered down. So one of the middle song on the album, Where No One Goes, we had written. It's we had that was on You Cannot Be Saved, which is like kind of like an intermediary album between our two like studio album releases. That one was recorded live. So that was like the first one we wrote, and it was kind of a new direction for us, both like sonically. It was more cohesive as a song than anything we'd really written prior to that. So Where No One Goes really set the stage for the rest of Onward Strides Colossus, and we built the rest of the album kind of around that.
Mhm.
Um, and so we also this was the first album like Andrew, our bass player, really kind of stepped in and helped out a lot on the writing process. He helped a lot on Sovereign Throne, the first song. He wrote a lot of that, and then he also really helped a lot of the connective tissues on the songs, and he also really pushed us to write Onward Strides Colossus, the title track. We originally had a different song slated for that album closing position. It's a song we've played a lot. We love. We just played it the other week, but it's never made its way onto a record for whatever reason. It's kind of it's both heavier and lighter than everything we've done, so it's like kind of in an awkward position. And it was like 2 months before we went to the studio that we decided to at least try to write a more proper ending to the song. I think that song would have worked. Um, just like the intro is like very sludgy, and there's not really a lot of sludgy stuff so much on this record. It's a little more doom, where we had a lot more sludge kind of on that, which speaks. Um, so overall, I think the process was just really demonstrated a lot of growth from the band. We've all by that point we've been playing together by with like 3 or 4 years, so the sound was really starting to congeal. We've always kind of been wary of fitting too tightly in any one box. So um, I think we've set the stage for a lot of great things to come with it.
Fantastic, fantastic. And any particular concept or theme that went behind this album?
Yeah, so I was really fascinated with like the hero's journey from classical literature, well, classical Western literature. Um, so a lot of like Paradise Lost, a lot of like the epic tradition, the Odyssey, and Dante's Inferno, all of these like really lofty hero's journey, these descents into hell scapes. Um, that's like the real like lyrical through line. It's also kind of this album that's about searching for a purpose, not necessarily like spiritual in the traditional sense, but kind of seeking some sort of spirituality through music. Kind of in the same way even like Sleep does in Dope Smoker, where it's kind of tongue in cheek, but it's also kind of serious. Um, and it's also a lot of the themes are about like going out on that journey as a touring band and kind of doing that your own version of that hero's journey in your own life. So those are the major thematic elements in my head for me.
And talking about the album, six mind-blowing songs. It has
Thank you.
everything inside of it: the sludge, the stoner, the doom, the progression in the songs. Each are done fantastically and beautifully to listen to this album as a complete album. So thank you guys so much for bringing up an amazing album this year. And as a band, what are your thoughts on this album and how do you feel about the outcome?
Um, as a creator, I'm very hard on myself. Most of my life has been built around being a creative, and I'm both like very proud of this record and also ready to go record a new one, because I learned a lot about what does and doesn't work in the writing, the recording process. We went to I love the songwriting on this album. I'm not 100%. I don't love everything about the actual recording. It was we went and recorded in like we recorded the album live in an old church. And we lived there for 5 days, and like there were no amenities. We were just like sleeping on a cot,
Mm.
and like there's not a shower. It's like actually like worse than tour conditions in a lot of ways. Like usually there's a couch or something. But like we were just like living in this church, and we got yelled at for smoking weed in the church, and it wasn't a church anymore. It's like a renovated church. But so we learned a lot about the recording process, and I'm very proud of the thing we've created overall. But I also want to make something that surpasses it as soon as I can.
Fantastic. And any plans to come up with an official music video from this album?
Yeah, we actually just recorded one here in town, and one's coming out tomorrow. So the one that comes out tomorrow, with the next single, Behold the Sword of Lock, that is like compiled out of a bunch of like tour footage.
Mhm.
So in like my like other professional life, I work with cameras a lot, so I bring my photo video equipment with me when we go on tour. I document a lot of it. Um, so tomorrow is like a kind of like a found footage style video. There's not necessarily like a narrative through it, but it's like very much just like footage from the last 2 3 years of touring, that I've put together into a video. And I think it really captures that song is very much about like the insanity of going on a tour, the insanity of like that death drive just to like do something crazy. And I think the video really captures that kind of insanity of that whirlwind. And then we just recorded another video for Where No One Goes, which will be the final single before the album comes out. And that is very much like a band in a room style music video. We went and recorded in this venue space up here in Spokane, Washington, and spent an evening playing that song 20 fucking times. And now I've got to edit it, and I'm not looking forward to that, but yes.
Fantastic. Looking forward to see those videos. Thank you. And I know the release is almost a month away, but do you guys have some kind of plans on the day of the release?
For the day of the release, I want to take a nap. I don't know, it's been this is the most intense album cycle we've done in terms of content output. Because I'm doing like all the photo, all the video. Before I hopped on this call, I was doing the album layout. I got to get the products made. Um, so for the day of the release, it's kind of awkward. We had a show booked on February 12th already.
Mhm.
So like and we have one in March, so I can't really do like an album release. So I don't really know what I'm going to do release day. Probably smoke some weed and listen to the record, I guess.
That's good. And how is the touring plan looks for you guys in this year?
We'll get out on a tour again this year. Right now, most of my resources are like are going to putting this record out. So until this is done, I can't really book anything. So, maybe later in the year again, we'd like to get out for 2 weeks or so, and support the album properly. We've done a couple West Coast tours now. I'd like to get out to the East Coast, but that's like a whole nother thing to figure out. Like that's renting gear. I might do a Midwest thing. I'm from Wisconsin. I'd really like to go tour back home. But the later in the year it gets, the harder that is to do weather-wise. It's actually very nice to tour the West Coast in November. It's pretty nice everywhere you go. Our last tour we did in August, and like my van was like a 23-year-old van now, so it always gets me where I'm going. But when we were coming from Phoenix to LA, there was like a hose issue, and the air conditioning was not like staying on properly. And so like halfway through, like we just had to stop out like on the way to LA, and like Andrew, he's a mechanic, so I don't really know what he was. He was doing some stuff with zip ties, and I don't know. He made the issue better. But where is Andrew? Sorry, one second. My bass player was supposed to stop by this. But yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, well, we'd like to get touring soon. Hopefully end of the year.
Fantastic. And formed in 2017, how has the road been for you so far?
From 2017?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it's been really great overall. We have made so many friends, we've made so many connections. Sorry, my bass. One second, let me get my bass player
Sure, no
here.
problem.
I'm sorry to. He was supposed to hop in, and he's trying to. Hop in. So I mean, like, since we started touring, we started out really small. We hit a lot of Pacific Northwest dates. We started out in, doing like 3-day weekends, like in small towns in the Pacific Northwest, like Kalispell, Montana, Missoula, Moscow, Idaho, all of these small places, and have been gradually able to go further and further each time. Our first tour, like we were able to get to NorCal, and that was it. Then our second big tour, we got all the way down to Phoenix and came back up. And like the Doom community is touring, like you don't like know these people in day-to-day life, but you meet so many great friends, and they become such close friends in these like really intense experiences, because throwing show business is an intense thing. It's an inherently intense thing, and you either get the lifestyle or you don't. So you go through and you meet all of these people who are kindred spirits. You go out, you party with them, and you make all of these friends, and then you get to see them every year when you go back out on this journey. It's really amazing. A lot of my closest friends now I've met through touring.
Fantastic. And what would be the big dream for you?
The big dream, we would really like to get on tour, or we'd really like to get some label support. Like I said, I've been DIYing this the whole time, and it takes a lot of my time away from songwriting and like just being a musician. And I get that's the field these days. We have so many amazing tools to promote ourselves. And you can learn more and more each day, but it's not totally sustainable, because I don't have time to make the thing I'm promoting half the time. So that label support would be huge for us. And then I'd also really love to start getting on to some festivals, like getting to go play those like Stone and Doom Fest, Crucial Fest, Psycho Las Vegas. Those would be huge accomplishments for us. And again, that's like just like a family gathering. You go and you meet all of these kindred spirits. So that would be the dream for us.
Fantastic, fantastic. And finally, what would be the message that you want to give to the fans around the world?
Our message is simple. We will destroy the big riff industry. Each of you can become a true Zoinked warrior, and only through huge riff therapy will we persevere.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Taylor, I want to thank you so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to have you on this interview. And thank you so much for putting up an amazing album, Onward Strides Colossus, this year. Thank you so much for this. And I wish you and the guys all the best.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother. Nice to meet you.
Take care of yourself. Bye bye.